Hello, and welcome back to Human Behavior Lab. I'm New York, your host and observer. Today, we're exploring a fascinating intersection between emotion and substance, specifically, why our emotional state matters so much when we consume alcohol.
Hi everyone, I'm Juan. And honestly, this topic hits close to home for a lot of us. I mean, who hasn't had a drink after a long day or to celebrate something good?
Precisely. And that's exactly why we're analyzing this. A recent study from Medical Express urges alcohol drinkers to be more aware of their emotional state before and during consumption. The implications go far beyond just don't drink when you're sad.
That sounds simple enough, but I'm guessing there's a lot more going on under the surface, right?
Indeed. The psychological structures here are quite intricate. Let's begin by examining what the study actually found, and then we'll dissect why humans react the way they do to alcohol across different emotional states. The study highlights a crucial finding. Our emotional state before drinking significantly influences how alcohol affects us, both physiologically and psychologically. This isn't just about intensity, it's about the entire mechanism of response.
So it's not just, I feel sad, so I drink, and then I feel sadder? There's more to it?
Correct. The study urges awareness because emotional states create what we call expectancy frameworks. When someone drinks while happy, they expect enhancement. When drinking while sad, they often expect relief. But the neurochemical reality is far more complex.
Wait, so our expectations actually change how alcohol affects us?
Yes, and this connects to what psychologists call alcohol expectancy theory. Your beliefs about what alcohol will do actually shape your experience. But here's where it gets structurally interesting. The study found that people often misread their own emotional states.
Misread their own emotions? How does that happen?
Many people drink to suppress negative emotions, but suppression doesn't eliminate those feelings, it merely masks them temporarily. The study suggests that when alcohol wears off, those suppressed emotions often return with greater intensity.
Oh, that explains those nights where you wake up feeling worse than before, even if you thought you were fine.
Exactly. And the study emphasizes that awareness of one's emotional state is the first step in preventing this cycle. But awareness alone isn't enough. We need to understand the structural mechanisms at play.
I feel like a lot of people will relate to this. We drink to celebrate, to mourn, to relax. Emotions are always involved somehow.
That's the key observation. Alcohol is deeply woven into human emotional rituals across cultures. The problem arises when we don't recognize that different emotional states create different vulnerabilities and outcomes.
So what are people's general reactions to these findings? I imagine there's some resistance.
Indeed. Many people respond defensively, citing their ability to handle their liquor or claiming they drink purely for taste. Others express surprise, having never considered the emotional component. A small but significant group recognizes their own patterns and expresses concern.
I can see that. Admitting that emotions drive our drinking habits. That requires some self-reflection that not everyone is ready for.
Let's dive deeper into the psychological mechanisms. The first major concept is alcohol myopia theory. This theory, developed by psychologists Steele and Josephs, suggests that alcohol narrows our attention to the most immediate cues while ignoring broader context.
So it's like wearing blinders? We only see what's right in front of us?
An excellent analogy. When you're emotionally distressed, the most salient cue is your negative feeling. Alcohol myopia amplifies this focus. So instead of providing relief, drinking while sad can intensify the very emotion you're trying to escape.
That's counterintuitive. Most people think alcohol numbs emotions.
The numbing effect is temporary and incomplete. What actually happens is more nuanced. Alcohol affects the prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center for rational thought and impulse regulation. This creates what researchers call disinhibition.
Disinhibition. That's when we do things we normally wouldn't?
Precisely. But disinhibition isn't just about behavior, it's about emotional expression. If you're sad and disinhibited, you might cry more easily. If you're angry, you might lash out. The emotion isn't suppressed, it's unleashed.
So drinking to forget your problems might actually make you think about them more intensely?
That's the paradox. Now, let's discuss another mechanism, the self-medication hypothesis. This theory suggests that people with certain emotional difficulties, anxiety, depression, trauma, use alcohol to manage symptoms they can't otherwise cope with.
That sounds like it could become a cycle really quickly.
You've identified the structural problem. Self-medication creates a feedback loop. Temporary relief reinforces the behavior, but the underlying issue remains unaddressed. Over time, tolerance builds, requiring more alcohol for the same effect. This is how emotional drinking can transition into dependence.
And I'm guessing most people don't even realize this is happening?
Correct. The study emphasizes awareness because recognition is rare. People often attribute their drinking to social situations, taste, or habit, overlooking the emotional driver beneath. This brings us to emotional regulation theory.
Emotional regulation? Is that the ability to manage our feelings?
Yes. Healthy emotional regulation involves recognizing, understanding, and appropriately responding to emotions. When people lack these skills, or when emotions overwhelm their capacity, alcohol becomes an external regulatory mechanism. It's outsourcing emotional management to a substance.
That's a powerful way to put it. Outsourcing emotional management. But alcohol doesn't actually solve anything, does it?
No, it merely postpones. And there's another factor, negative reinforcement. When someone drinks and temporarily feels relief from emotional distress, that relief reinforces the drinking behavior. The brain learns, when I feel bad, alcohol makes it stop.
So we're basically training our brains to reach for alcohol whenever we feel bad?
That's the behavioral conditioning at work. Now, interestingly, positive emotions create different patterns. Social facilitation theory suggests that drinking in positive emotional states is often about enhancement, amplifying the good feelings.
So drinking when happy is different from drinking when sad?
Psychologically, yes. But both carry risks. Enhancement drinking can lead to overconsumption because the brain chases the peak experience. The study notes that awareness of emotional state applies to positive emotions too, knowing when celebration might cross into excess. Let's consider the broader social context. Modern society has normalized emotional drinking in ways that previous generations might not recognize. Consider phrases like wine mom culture or it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Oh, those are everywhere on social media. It's almost like a badge of honor to need a drink after work.
Exactly. These cultural narratives frame emotional drinking as not just acceptable but expected. The study's call for awareness challenges these normalized behaviors. When society says you deserve this drink, it's validating emotional regulation through substance use.
But sometimes people really are stressed. Is having one drink really that problematic?
The study doesn't advocate complete abstinence. Rather, it urges awareness. The question isn't is one drink harmful, but do you understand why you're reaching for that drink? The structural issue is when emotional regulation becomes dependent on external substances.
So the key is knowing yourself?
Self-awareness is indeed the foundation. But there's a societal dimension too. Modern stressors, work pressure, social media comparison, economic uncertainty, create chronic emotional loads that previous generations didn't face in the same way. This constant emotional burden makes the appeal of chemical relief stronger.
That makes a lot of sense. We're all carrying more emotional weight, and alcohol is an easy way to put it down temporarily.
And that temporary relief has costs. The study points to increased risk of developing alcohol use disorder when emotional drinking becomes routine. Furthermore, emotional drinking often co-occurs with other issues, sleep disruption, relationship conflict, decreased work performance.
It sounds like a lot of people might be in this pattern without realizing how deep they are.
To summarize, the study urges awareness of emotional state before drinking. We've examined why this matters through several psychological frameworks: alcohol myopia, self-medication hypothesis, emotional regulation theory, and behavioral conditioning.
And the takeaway isn't that drinking is bad, but that understanding our emotional drivers is important for healthy behavior.
Precisely. The structural perspective reveals that emotional awareness is a protective factor. People who can identify their emotions and manage them through healthy mechanisms, exercise, social connection, mindfulness, are less likely to develop problematic drinking patterns.
So maybe the next time any of us reaches for a drink, we should pause and ask, what am I feeling right now?
That simple question embodies the study's core message. Awareness doesn't require dramatic change, it begins with recognition. From recognition, better choices become possible.
I think that's something we can all work on. Thanks for breaking this down, New York. It definitely made me think about my own habits.
Thank you for joining this exploration, Juan. And to our viewers, we're not here to judge anyone's choices. We're here to understand the structures behind human behavior. Awareness is simply the first step toward whatever change you might seek.
Until next time, everyone, stay curious and take care of yourselves.
If this analysis resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from this perspective. We'll continue observing and analyzing the fascinating structures of human behavior. Goodbye for now.